allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We are going to start off with budget reviews. I'm going to ask everybody that's standing on that side of the room to just state your name when you stand up so people watching this can know who's speaking. So I'm going to start with fire department.
Really?
I got you first on the list.
Okay. Full-time salary line, it's actually showing a decrease. And that's due to 2 employees that left, retired, and 2 new hires. They were brought in at a lower rate. It includes wages, holiday pay, and overtime. And the new number is 106,431.66.
Okay.
The part-time salary, if you remember last year, we were at 62 originally, and then we dropped the 3,000 off to get the number reduced overall.
Right.
But this year we're back up to 71,000. That includes the 1.7% COLA for the part-time employees and the 2% merit. Last year, because of the new pay scale, they didn't have anything in July when the rest of the town did. So this year they will be included.
Okay.
At this point, we're projecting a 10% increase in call volume for 2015. Projected another increase for next year. And based on all that is where I came up with the $71,000 for that one.
Okay.
The salary elected is the 1.7% COLA and the 2% merit. That's based on the fire chief's salary at 24 hours a week. FICA, Medicare is reflected based on the previous increases.
Right.
New Hampshire retirement system, it went up slightly. 2 reasons. Last year in July, it went from 27% and change to 29%. So 2016 will have a full year at 29%, 29.16%.
Okay.
And then we added an additional line that's subject to the New Hampshire retirement system, and that's 962, which we'll get to towards the end. And I can explain that when we get down there if you want.
Okay.
Uniforms, the cost of gear has gone up another $100 this year, so it's being reflected in next year's budget. And then the increased cost to outfit personnel with duty uniforms, pants, shirts, etc.
I mean, it went up to $1,000, not $100.
$100 per set.
Oh, per set.
Times
Okay.
5 sets.
Gotcha. All right.
Contract services is up to $14,400 from $12,621. The NFPA subscription's gone up another $100 and change. The mutual aid dues went up $500. That was voted in by the association last month,
Okay.
effective next year. We added a maintenance contract for the copy machine, which basically covers the cost if there's any issues. They come out and there's no charge. It's covered in that maintenance contract. 1 or 2 visits basically covers it. We've had more than that already this year.
Okay.
We added e-dispatch, which is a service that sends our tones to our cell phones. And basically we've been having a lot of problems with the pagers being down for maintenance. A lot of the younger guys, we don't have enough pages for them. So for $948 a year, anybody that has a cell phone can get the pages, and there's probably a 20 to 30 second delay. But if you happen to be out, you don't have your pager on you, your battery's dead, it's basically a redundant system to make sure everybody's aware of the incidents that are going on.
You see that as replacing the pages at some point?
Not at this point,
Yeah.
but in the future it could. It's definitely allowed us to not purchase as many as we otherwise would have. And they're $550, $500 a piece. And if we don't have any spares, so if one goes down, we usually lose a few a year. It's just kind of a safeguard and
Yep.
to make sure everybody's getting the opportunity to hear the call. The electric, that was based on a 6% increase, and I did the math. I did more than 6%. I'll have to go back and figure out why that might be an error on my part. $7,100 is 6%.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look at where I'm at year to date, see
Right.
if we're projecting higher than originally anticipated.
Switch your numbers too.
That's right. Thanks. You were supposed to catch that earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just saw it.
Heat, I went up another $1,000. Every year for the last couple of years, we've been running over.
Yeah.
I've never really compensated for that in the budget because I kind of thought it would be a fluke. It doesn't seem to be a fluke. Year to date at this point, we're at 63.16, and we still have October, November, and December where we're going to be using heat.
Right.
The water, we were told the budget for a 15% increase in water usage fees. That's for the
Mhm.
water department.
Yeah.
So that bumps us up to $1,950.
Okay. So that's something that's not reflected in this, though.
It's not right. No, that's
Yeah.
the one you don't have updated on. That was just
Okay.
the other day.
Yep.
Diesel fuel, I bumped to 6,500 from 6,180. And again, that's based on the increase in call volume, the usage, and the fact that the DOT pumps that we get fuel from in
Yep.
Milton,
Yep.
that shed's gonna be closing. And we're either gonna have to go to Wakefield or Rochester to get fuel. Exit
Right.
16 is the new DOT shed.
I thought you said it's staying open, chief.
No, December.
December.
Yeah, so next year that'll be closed.
It's staying open until the Dover shed opens.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna use more fuel.
Yep.
Vehicle maintenance, this line's been 14,000 for a long time, and it's worked for us. This year, we've already spent 16,980, and that does include the inspections that has been done at the highway department this month. And I know the ladder truck was there overnight, engine 4 was there for a little while today, so I'm not sure exactly what that is gonna reflect, but I guarantee by the end, we're probably gonna be close to 18,000, if not a little more.
Do you think your request of 16 is enough?
This is the first time we've ever gone over 14,
Okay.
and we had a couple big projects. We installed the extrication tools. We put over $8,000 worth of work into engine 3, which is the second newest truck. That's not even the oldest. Had leaf springs, exhaust, had some pump work. I think we put tires on that this year. We did a lot of tires this
on
year.
one of them, I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one.
Ball joints on the ambulance, tires on the ambulance, some work on car 2. It was just seemed like everything kind of came at once this year. The other thing too is engine 4 is 25 years old now, and the ladder truck is now 30 years old.
Right.
So that's not going to get any cheaper to repair as time
No.
goes on.
No.
The lease payment for engine 6 has been removed, as you guys learned
Yep.
last week. It's moved to contingency and bonding. So that's going to reflect a $41,000 decrease.
Right.
Equipment purchase. Last year we bumped it to 16,500 after several years of it being decreased as low as 11,000, I believe. I'm asking for another 2,000 this year, and essentially that's due to the overage in vehicle maintenance. I didn't get to purchase a lot of the equipment that I planned on purchasing for the 16.5, so it kind of rolls into next year. Equipment purchase is the only line that I really have the ability to hold off a year and put it to the following year. I can't hold off forever. That's why we're in the position where we need the $18,000, $18,500. Again, I planned on doing the hose over a period of 4 years. We lost another couple hundred feet this year. I still plan on buying it, but I've been waiting till the very end of the year.
Right.
And again, it's gonna perpetuate and become
Yeah.
an issue over time. So I think 18.5 will keep us on track, but that's where I'm at with that. Part-time EMS on call, this used to be called per diem. The
Right.
term per diem didn't really make any sense, so we changed it to EMS on call. That was a warrant article for $26,000 back when Chief Lucia was in charge. And we kind of worked for a long time. Last year, we finally started scheduling people, filling every shift. We spent $32,000. This year, I'm projecting $32,000 again. I didn't bump it up because the new line that we added will reflect the increase in this, and I'll explain that when we get there. But as you look at the missed calls, in 2012 it was 27, 2013 was 49. 14 is when we started scheduling people. It was dropped to 9, and this year there's been one time where we haven't had a crew available, and 7 times where a mutual aid ambulance transported. 3 of them we were tied up on another call, and the other 3 it was because of multiple patients at a scene.
Oh, okay.
So 422962 full-time EMS on call.
Yep.
As you know, 2 new hires, full-time hires, were previously call members. They filled a lot of the night shifts.
Right.
If we took them out of the loop in that scheduling, it would leave a lot of vacancies that we wouldn't be able to fill. However, because they're now full-time employees, they're subject to the New Hampshire retirement system.
Right.
So it was more appropriate to pull them out and have their own line to better track it. And if we didn't create the own line, this separate line, I would have increased that other line by the same amount.
Right. Okay.
The other thing, through discussion and to keep it fair, the part-time employees are paid $4 an hour. The full-time employees are paid $3 an hour to be on call, and that's because the town's responsible for the 29% overtime. Not overtime. New Hampshire retirement.
Okay. All right.
So to keep the cost to the town at about $4, we reduced it to $3 an hour. Additionally, they're eligible for overtime when they come back, whereas the call firefighters are paid straight time only. So that kind of makes everything a level playing field, and it doesn't leave any voids in our night coverage.
Okay.
Total budget request for 2016 is $412,698.22, and that's a decrease of $12,378. But again, the majority of that is because of the removal of the payment.
Right. But I got down here 425,076 for 2015.
425. Yeah, that's what I have too. 425,076.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's right. 425 is right.
Yep. For
Okay.
2015.
Yep. Okay. Any
all I
questions,
have.
anyone?
Les?
Yes.
I just have one question. What was the reasoning for taking the lease payment out and putting it in the contingency and bonding? I know people are gonna ask.
Well, as I explained at the last meeting, the contingency and bonding budget is the proper place for that bond payment. It is a bond, an annual bond payment, so.
I know, but some people don't.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
So is
have
this,
some public.
yep. Good question.
Thank you, Les.
Any other questions? Okay. Let's move on to emergency management.
I didn't make a PowerPoint for that one.
You didn't?
No.
Well, just forward then.
The only change is biker Medicare was added to the stipend. And I honestly don't even have the numbers in front of me.
Okay.
The stipend had been paid, and I'm not sure what biker Medicare was charged to. I'm assuming it was charged to the fire department budget,
It was.
but I just felt it was more appropriate to actually have the proper.
Yeah, for tracking purposes.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So it's, I believe it's a couple $100 total.
Yeah, it's $248 for FICA and $58 for Medicare, so. Other than that, everything else remained the same. Okay. Questions? Anyone? Okay, police department. This is where you get inducted by fire. And
McGowan made you,
Huh?
Lieutenant Kraus do it.
He also made me do the budget.
Okay.
You make Kevin do it again. All right, Chief Kraus. So line 1 increased full-time salary. This line increased only with the 1.7% COLA. The
Right.
1.7% COLA, the reason why I didn't do the 2.2% merit is the 1.7% COLA keeps us on the pay scale that I've situated for the police department
Okay.
that we spoke about last year.
Yep. Okay.
It also includes a $10,000 increase in the overtime line. This $10,000 increase in the overtime line is to correct a deficiency that I think I see in my department. Currently, we pay our officers $30 to go to court. That's $30 if they're there for 20 minutes, or $30 if they're there for the whole 8 hours from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That $30 doesn't cover daycare for the officers if they have to take the children to daycare, and it really doesn't pay them an appropriate hourly rate for going to court, because it's a mandated thing. It's not like they can say, I'm not showing up to court. They don't show up to court. They A, get disciplined by my agency, and B, they get in trouble from the court because they've now blown off a subpoena. So that $10,000 increase in the overtime line is to give them what would be considered a 2-hour minimum. So when they get to court, they get paid a 2-hour minimum for court. Everything over that 2 hours that they have to be there for, they get paid overtime for while they're in court.
Okay.
Thankfully, our cameras have decreased the amount of court we've had to go to, but the officers still do have to go to court.
Right.
The major increase in that line is the SRO grant that we have applied for in conjunction with the school. That SRO grant is $37,996.56 is the town's portion of that for this year. Obviously, the school pays 70% of that grant, and we pay the other 30% of the grant, our portion of the grant. When we spoke to the finance director here, she advised me whichever department is paying for that officer, that's where the money should be put into that budget. So it'll work similar to the way the school requests money from the town.
Right.
When it comes time, the town would request the school's portion to be paid back into the general
Oh, okay.
fund
All right.
to recoup the school's portion of that $37,000 for the first year of the SRO grant.
Oh, okay.
We have not heard back from the federal government yet whether or not we were approved for the grant. I'm hoping they get back to us before January 1st, because if they do get back to us before January 1st, we can obviously take that $37,000 out of my budget, because we won't have the SRO grant, so we won't have the need for that $37,000.
Did you hear anything about a grant for hiring officers like we've been through once before? I thought I heard on the radio they were doing that.
It's the same grant. The
Yeah.
COPS grant.
Yeah.
The COPS grant has multiple facets to it this year, and one of the ones that we saw was the best avenue for town was the SRO grant.
Okay. All right.
It allows us to put an officer
Yep.
back into the schools and
Yep.
have a better connection with the children of town. So as you guys know from past, my full-time salary line encompasses overtime, holidays,
Mhm.
on-call, everything.
Right. It does. Yep.
We don't have a separate line for overtime anymore. Administrative assistant line, that line went up the 2% merit and the 1.7% COLA. My administrative assistant is on the same path as every other employee in town.
Right.
So she stays on that. That increase was $1,434.78. Chief salary line, again, that's a 1.7% increase to stay on the scale that
Mhm.
we created last year
Controller.
with the COLA. FICA went up with the increases in salaries for part-time by $157.38. Medicare went up by $941.52. Again, this is because of the increases in the full-time salary line and any raises. Retirement is similar to the fire department. We went halfway through last year from 25.3% to 26.38%. This year will be our first full year at 26%. And with the raises, the 10% or the $10,000 increase in overtime and the SRO grant, it's a $23,073.10 increase for retirement.
Okay.
Electricity went up the projected 6% for the $402. And my total budget increase is $92,530.99. If we do not get the SRO grant, my increase would be $41,165.28.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Okay.
We do have one.
Okay.
Fuel lines stay the same?
I kept my fuel line the same just because, as we were planning to do this year, if we need to, we can continue to track our details and the amount of fuel we're using on the details and pull that money out of the detail.
Bob Carrier.
Oh, thanks, Bob. Anyone else? Thanks, Chief. Highway.
Pat Smith, Public Works Director. I decreased the full-time salary line because of turnover that we had in the last year,
Okay.
which we were paying people a little bit more, so entry level, and we have one opening still at this time. So we have that just in the budget as entry level, so it would have been less, so it decreased the line.
Right.
The full-time line. It still has the 45,000 in for the overtime for winter. I didn't increase it, and I didn't decrease it, because I'm not quite sure exactly what we're gonna have.
How we fare that last year, the overtime line?
Well, we've been short a guy for a year,
Oh, okay.
so we sucked a lot of it up with that person.
Salary line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part-time salary line, full-time, it does have a 2% and a 1.7
Right.
COLA in that, but it was a decrease. The part-time line, an increase with the 1.7% COLA and the 2% merit.
Okay.
And that position is 25 hours a week.
Yep.
We added 5 hours a week. Last year, that 5 hours shouldn't have been on me. We did that last year when we voted in the budget.
Okay. Salary elected.
This is elected, yep, just a 1.7 COLA and a 2% merit.
Okay.
FICA decreased because of the full-time salary line went down, and Medicare also decreased because the full-time line went down. Contract services is up a bit because I put in, it's not on there, but we were getting our line striped by the state,
Right.
and I contacted them a couple of times, and they're not, they claim that budget restrictions, they're not gonna be able to do it anymore.
Oh.
So I put some money in the $3,720 in the contract service line, because I'm gonna end up having to stripe up around the school, and I'm gonna have to stripe some of the downtown areas. And figured out, I think that's for 5 miles. You have to have a minimum. They won't come in just to do a little
Right.
bit, because
Right.
it's by the foot. And it's like 6 cents a foot, 6.5 cents a foot to do a yellow line.
Wow. Okay.
And you have, like I said, you have to have a minimum. So I went with 5 miles, which is about the minimum, and that's 2 lines. So, you gotta do a
Right.
double yellow.
Right.
Okay, so that's why that increased, $3,720. Electric with the increase of 306 for the 6% rate increase. Operating supplies, $11,960 increase. Salt went from $48.54 a ton to $54.81 a ton. So that's a big part of the increase. Plus sand, we were buying our sand at $4.50 a yard, which was a bargain for years.
Right.
We no longer can get that bargain anymore, so now we're gonna have to pay by the ton, and it's $5.20 a ton. So it's a pretty good increase. It's like $8 a yard,
Yeah,
you know, so it's doubled.
yep.
And I budgeted 24,000, I believe. I went from 15 to 24 for the sand.
Okay.
$23,000 for sand, winter sand. And the salt went up to 62,076. Everything else in the contracts, in the operating supply line, I level funded, didn't raise or just left it the same.
Okay.
So I had an increase in my highway budget of $15,418. And that's mainly due to sand and salt.
Right. You went up on, where am I here? Vehicle fuel, not the vehicle fuel,
Nope, stayed the same.
diesel fuel.
Stayed the same.
Okay, yeah, it did. I was looking
I
at,
level
I was looking at
fund- I level
2014.
funded everything.
Yep, no, I was looking at 2014.
And the other
You
thing
did.
I did, I was gonna reduce my maintenance line, but I don't dare to reduce my maintenance line in case I have an issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
left my maintenance line level funded.
Okay. Any questions, anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
Line 850 was a decrease.
Yeah, I haven't, I'm not spending money on that stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Good job, Pat.
Yep, good job. Any question, anybody else? Anyone?
Just one.
Yes, Bob.
Bob Carrier. Are you you're gonna face the same problem. You're gonna have to go down to Rochester to get your fuel or refuel,
Yep.
and you're not upping up your fuel line? So, will you be able to stay with that?
We'll find out.
How much you spend on fuel so far this year, Pat?
I don't have that in front of me, but it's under.
Or is it?
I think I'm under because, well, I've gone a month or better without trucks.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've gone almost 2 without a loader,
Yeah,
so I'm not using it.
it's true.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Probably get behind.
Well, we'll have to keep track of that. Like Bob says, if you gotta go to Rochester to get it now, that's further away. And
Yeah, well, I level funded the diesel fuel, but the diesel fuel did decrease. It went
The
down
cost,
from
yeah.
last year's
yeah,
price, but it's only good for 6 months. We don't know what's gonna happen at the end of the
exactly.
6 months.
Okay. Government buildings.
Okay, the full-time salary line is 1.7% and a 2% raise with an increase of $2,574.
Okay.
Part-time salary, which is Gordy's position, I gave a 1.7% and a 2% merit of an increase of $173.
Yep.
FICA, due to the 1.7 and 2%, went up 170. Medicare went up 40. Contract services. Contract services increased $1,483. That is due to a new price in the boiler maintenance
Okay.
and the elevator at the library now has to have annual inspection, annual licensing, and I am getting a, budgeting $300 for a maintenance contract where the company that installed it will come up and maintain it once a year before the inspection to make sure that everything's ready for inspection.
Right. The sheets we got show, unless I'm looking at the old one. Oh, I'm looking at the new one. They only show it this year, a request of 28,624.
No, yeah, you got the wrong one.
No, they both say that.
29,657.
The They both say that.
Well, there's a couple things that came in last minute that I was waiting for quotes, and it may not have got transferred to
Okay.
this. They just came in like the end of last week.
Okay,
So, but the reason for that increase is for the boiler maintenance went up and the lift maintenance contract
Right.
and the licensing, so that doubled, because I cover the licensing and the lift for the elevator here,
yeah,
so that everything that we do on this one just doubled because we're doing that one up there now.
in Milton Mills.
Yeah.
I just asked about that,
Right.
yep, okay,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Electric, 6% rate increase. Water, 15%.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of crazy, I think, but
It's quite a jump.
yeah, I'd like to see why, but
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a jump. I don't get the reasoning for that, but.
I'm not sure either. I just found that out today, so. Not sure about that, but the overall increase for the government buildings budget is $4,958.
Okay. Any questions, anyone? Mr. Brown?
Larry Brown. General question, the 2% merit, what's the percentage used?
For the percentage for,
Well, if there's $100 allocated
well, it's
for...
for 6 months, so it's half of what you're,
No. What was used?
2%?
That means every person eligible for 2% merit got it?
Last year? Absolutely. Anything else?
No, that's...
Okay. Solid waste.
Okay, full-time salary line at the 1.7%, the 2% COLA for an increase to $38,942 from $37,587.
Okay.
The part-time line, we have 3 part-timers. They're also getting the 1.7 and the 2%. So there's an increase from 42,563 to 43,918.
Yep.
FICA, $168 increase due to the raises. Medicare, $39 due to the raises. Contract services went up $210. That's because we have the contract with Barron Brothers for leaf disposal.
What about training? You went up $100 in training?
I did, yes, I did, I put that on. Yeah, that because we have training for the
Okay.
scales.
Oh, okay, transfer
And
station,
we
yep.
have to go to mandatory training
Yep.
to keep our solid waste certificates, licenses.
Okay.
Electric, 6% rate increase of $72. Telephone is an increase of $85, and that's due to using the square, or you're using more data on the phone,
Right.
so it
Yep.
went up a bit.
Okay.
And that's a total increase of solid waste of $3,384.
Okay. Questions, anyone?
So you didn't move your diesel fuel line there neither? You don't
No,
think
I
you'll
left
need
it,
to-
I left all my fuel lines level funded.
Okay.
Think it's gonna hurt you, or you gonna make it?
No, I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
We'll see, I mean, I'll know what the distance is gonna,
Right. Okay. Outside appropriations.
We did that at the last meeting.
You're right, we did. And we did TA, didn't we, too?
Yep.
Well, that wraps it up. for budgets. Anybody, any questions in general on budgets? Thank you, everyone.
I have one item for other business,
Okay.
if you're ready to.
Yep, other business.
Milton Mills.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Just no public.
Yeah, just okay. All right, then we are going to have to go into a non-public. So I will